What is your full name?
Kate Aveline Hamby Walsh.
Where are you born?
Stony Fort in Wilkes County with Ferguson address, post office.
Is that where you grew up too?
Yes.
Do you have any siblings?
Yes. I had 10 brothers and 3 sisters.
What were their names?
Thomas Lenny Hamby. William Zolly Bruce Hamby. Rayvon Hamby. Bobby Charlie Hamby. Lawrence Dan Hamby. Fred Henry Hamby. Nellie Irene Hamby. Clyde Hamby. Grace Viola Kathleen Hamby. Then me, that's where I come in. And then my brother Jerry Lee Hamby. Then Ralph Ray Hamby. And then the baby was Juanita Hamby.
Okay. What was life like for you guys as children?
Hard. Really hard. When my baby sister, she was born in March, and my dad got sick and he died on the 4th of July. So Mother had all those kids at home and just her. So we worked hard.
What kind of work did you guys do?
Farm work. Now the boys worked for the Wilburns with the dairy and the chickens. They had chicken houses. And until I was married, I never worked, outside. I always just did, what I had to do at home. I never worked outside of home.
What kind of toys and games did you guys play with?
Well, let's see. We loved to play ball, and since we couldn't afford a baseball, Mom made us one. She started with a rock and some cotton batting and a sock, and she got that all rolled up, and then she went around it with yarn. She covered the whole thing this way and then back this way, and we'd beat that thing around till we got it so flat it just wouldn't do anymore, and she'd make us another one. And she would make us girls. She knew how to do the little corn chop, whatever.
The corn husk doll?
Yeah, the corn husk. Thank you. Corn husk doll.
Okay. Did you guys, what type of, entertainment did you have at home, like radios and stuff?
We had a radio. I don't exactly remember when we got the radio. And I was like 9 or 10 when we got a television. And we got a refrigerator right before we got a television, though. And we cooked on a wood cook stove. And we finally got an electric one, but Mom still liked the wood one.
What type of entertainment was around, away from your home?
Church. We did things with the church. And when I wasn't quite a teenager, I was 12. But they let me go with the rest of the kids. We had a youth center in our old schoolhouse. And we had this man and woman who were childless. And they were our directors, and they were with us. And we would go there and we'd dance and play records and have refreshments. And we would go on hay rides and have weenie roasts, which was a lot of fun.
What type of music did you guys listen to?
Country and bluegrass.
What were your favorite artists?
Oh God. Back then, Bill Monroe and of course Johnny Cash. And Mama Maybelle Carter.
So, what was school like?
School, I don't know. Sometimes boring and sometimes real good. Especially if you got a teacher you liked. And I got my first and only whipping in first grade. Because when the teacher said, you don't talk, you don't talk. And I asked J.R. White to borrow his eraser, so I got 3 little swipes with a switch. Hurt my feelings, but that was all.
Did you guys have like a lot of different classrooms, or did you have it all in one classroom?
We had a classroom, an auditorium, and another classroom. So it was grades 1 through 4 on one side, and then 5 through 7 on the other side. And then when you got 8th grade, you got bused to Mount Pleasant, because we went to a little school called Hendricks.
Did they have to take a bus, or did they have to walk to school?
Oh, no, we rode a bus, but we had to walk like a mile to the bus stop, and then a mile back home. And if you were a tardy and missed the bus, you just kept hooping it till you got there. It was about 5 miles from home, so we went on to school if we missed the bus.
Do you have any like family heirlooms that you like to keep?
Oh, I've got one of my mama's dolls. Our house burnt when I was 11, so things I had, before that, because I had one of my grandma's dresses. And it might have fit that little granddaughter that was in here a while ago. Because my mama was 4'11", and her mama was smaller than her.
What was it like for children during the polio epidemic?
Oh. Well, there was a lot of kids. Well, over in this area, they had polio too. And one boy, Mike McNeil, he has Mike's body shop in Wilkesboro. He still owns it. But he had a terrible limp. One of the foster boys had a terrible limp. And I had a mild case, but my brother, who took ill before I did, he died.
How old were you when you got polio?
4.
How long did you have it?
I really don't remember. I remember being there, and I remember all those needles, and oh Lord, I was scared to death of needles after that. But, I couldn't walk. My left side went plumb paralyzed. But by that time, my mama knew what was wrong with me. My brother was sick a few days before they figured out there was something else going on.
Was it hard to adjust back to everyday life when you got better?
Well, no, I don't guess. Boy, I got used to that attention, though. All my brothers and sisters showed me attention.
Do you have any lingering effects?
Yeah, I had a mild case of scoliosis, and Mother would take me for therapy sessions at the health department in Wilkesboro. And I couldn't do those exercises to save me. And the best thing, and it kind of straightened my spine out, I would climb up me a big old tree and loop my legs and let it all hang down. Like the thing they have nowadays, that teeter-totter, whatever, that turns you upside down. Well, I hung upside down.
How has polio affected your family as a whole?
Well, except for, the one brother passing away, not all that much, but it's something you never forget.
Have any other major historical events affected your family, like any wars?
No. I had a brother that was in service, but it was in peacetime. But my son David was in Persian Gulf, the first go around. And I watched a lot of news and worried a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. So, how did you and David meet?
She worked at a little hamburger joint, and her regular ride that usually brought her home on Saturday nights had something went wrong, and anyway they wasn't there to bring her home, and we didn't have a phone, so there was no way to call home. And my sister-in-law's brother happened to be there, and he was with David, and Nellie had asked Chelsea, which was my sister-in-law's brother, if he would take her home, and he said he would, but he was riding with another boy. And he said, well, let me ask him, and if he will. And that's how we met. He brought my sister home, and of course it was this 5-year space before we got married, but we're still together.
How long did you guys date?
5 years.
When did you get married?
We got married on July 13th.
How many kids do you have?
4.
What are their names?
David, Phoebe, Sarah, and Katie.
Do you have any grandchildren?
Yes, I do. I have 7.
What are their names?
Okay. Thomas Lenny Walsh. Christopher Aaron Lawrence Walsh. Brandon Tyler Roten. Kayla Dawn Tart. Caitlin Adele Tart. They're twins. And then Grace Laws and Landon Patterson.
Do you have any great-grandchildren?
Yes, I do.
What are their names?
Thomas Michael at Walsh and Raylan Scott Walsh. I have a nephew named Scott too, so that makes me kind of stop.
How long have you and David been together?
50-something years.
Where all have you guys lived while you were together?
We lived in Caldwell County for a couple of years. We had bought a house there. And then his dad was wanting us to move back down here on Elk Creek. So we had a house built just right up the road from here. And when his father passed away, we moved in the old home place, and we let his baby sister have our house for her and her family.
When did you live in Caldwell County?
1958.
What's the best thing that's ever happened to you?
Meeting David.
What's the worst thing that's ever happened to you?
Oh, that's losing my family members.
Have you and David traveled any?
Let's see. The first way that he and I have been, we've been to South Carolina and Virginia and Tennessee.
Do you have any interesting stories about your time in Caldwell County?
Not really. I just didn't like my neighbor. He was Peeping Tom.
What jobs have you had?
Jobs? Let's see. I worked in a furniture factory. Not very long, but I did work at one. I worked at Flair and Harper's. And when I quit there, I went to Wilkesboro to work and worked in a hosiery mill, and I worked there 2 years. And then I went to work with the school system and worked for them right at 30 years. I was a bus driver and a maid to begin with. And then I was the janitor completely. And then I quit for a little space of time, couple of years, 3 years. But then I went back and worked in the cafeteria at Wilkesboro School for 1 year. And after that, I went to work for Woodward Middle School, or junior high. We have middle schools now. But anyway, I worked for middle school too. But I drove a regular bus, and then I went to an EC bus, and I substitute taught.
Did you like your job?
Yes, I did. When I had the big bus, you know how noisy it. You've been on the big bus. But on the little bus, I had all handicapped, to some extent, whether it be physical or a little mental, and loved my job and loved children. I've always looked after children. I was diapering my baby sister when I was 5 years old. I mean, I could bathe her, I could dress her. It's just something that you did, and it's never stopped. Except I don't have any diapers to change now. I've not even changed Raylan. But yeah, and I love children.
What all did you have to do with your little brothers and sisters when you were younger? Did you just dress them, or did you take care of them a lot?
We took care of them, and whichever one you had to watch. Now, you paid attention to those children. If they got hurt, it was your fault.
What major historical events do you remember the most from your childhood?
Oh.
What was the biggest news?
Oh, I'm trying to think. I was born after the flood. But my mom told me all kinds of stories about that. And I guess, when John Kennedy, I was older though when John was killed. And we had, what was the other president? Was it Truman that stood out in the cold and did his inaugural address? Whichever one that was, anyway, that's always stuck out. And, of course, the Holocaust. And then World War II.
What do you remember hearing the most about the Holocaust?
Just all of them killing the Jews, and I never could figure how they could have been so foolish to have followed a madman. Mm-hmm. And then not know that their people, they were taking them and they were putting them on the trains, the death trains was what they were, and they took them to the camps, and they would strip them and send them in these big buildings, and it was gas chambers, and people would climb on top of each other to get that last little bit of air, but of course when they opened the doors, everybody was dead. But it was just hard to hear about because it was in the news, it was just constant. That's the wind.
Okay. When you are gone, how do you want to be remembered as an individual?
Oh, I don't know. I've never really done anybody any harm. I've always tried to be the best person I could be.
Who's Bob the Ghost?
Bob the Ghost. That was my father-in-law. When our youngest daughter, when she moved up here, we gave her the house, and we live in her trailer. But her little boy had woke up one night, and he was kind of whimpering, and she said, "Well, honey, what's the matter?" She said, "That man, Mama, that man." And she said, "What man?" She said, "There's nobody here. This is our house." And he told her, "No, Mama, it's Bob's house. And he's standing right over there." But we never mentioned his great-grandpa's name to him. And he was just little, but, no, this is Bob's house, and he's standing over there. So we had to convince him that that was his house, and if he saw Bob, he was just making sure he was all right.
When's the last time anyone has saw Bob?
Oh, I have a little glimmer every once in a while. I can see like he walks past. Now, my mother-in-law was the one that really got me. I could see her come past my kitchen window, and I kept waiting for her to come in the door. And then I'd think, stupid. Minnie's gone. But that was another good story too. I loved my mother-in-law. And I don't know how many people can say that, but I really did love my mother-in-law. Now my father-in-law, Bob the Ghost, me and him could argue.
What was life like for you when you first got married and had children?
Oh, wonderful. I was just so engrossed in my children, and the only reason I went to work, I wanted to provide for them more. Because you always want your children to have more and do more than you've ever done. But I enjoyed my children. Except when Phoebe sat down on my nose real good and hard and Davy hit me in the head with a cola bottle. Don't ever have big glass cola bottles. I don't think they have. Yes, they do have them now too. But I was down on the floor playing with him, and the first thing I knowed, I was seeing stars. He had picked up a RC bottle and clunked me in the head. But now I love teaching them how to walk and how to talk. And I gave Davy words like elephant, hippopotamus, not, little things. And I've never baby talked him. I'd say mommy or daddy or whatever, and he calls me mom and calls David dad. And then Tommy and Melissa renamed us. I'm Granny and he's Pop. So that's what Mikey calls us too.
Do you have any like childhood memories of like when you and your brothers and sisters would play? Like, do you ever have any memories?
Oh yes. Well, we'd play ball. That was one thing. And my brothers hauled a great big bunch of sawdust down at the bottom of this bank. It sounds stupid, I know, but this was fun to us. And we'd jump off that big tall bank and land down in those sawdust, because they'd carry it from out of the sawmill and do that. And when we finally got a TV, we got to shell corn to take to the mill on Saturday morning, so we watched cartoons.
Did any of you guys ever get hurt jumping off banks and stuff?
Oh, yes. My sister, well, we did swinging across the gully on the grapevine. We did that too. And the vine broke and she fell down in the ditch and there was glass in there and she got cut several times. So that nixed that. And we would go climb little saplings in the woods. And I could go all the way to the top, and that thing would just bend over, and I'd get off on the ground. It was fun. And we would play, like with the neighbor kids. They'd walk up to our house, or we'd walk down to theirs. And we'd play ball, or Red Rover, just all kinds of little childhood games we had then, and jump rope. And my mother could out-jump either one of us.
Out of your brothers and sisters, when you were raising them, did you have one that was like really defiant and mean that gave you a lot of trouble?
Yeah, my baby sister. Oh, it was so spoiled. And if you tried to do anything with her, or if she got mad at you, these fingernails, claw, I've got little scars all over my arms thanks to her.
Who gave you the least trouble?
I guess Jerry. Jerry was a real good kid. And he died early. He died with cancer. He died when he was 47. That's how old my dad was when he died. He was 47.
Which one of your kids gave you the most trouble?
Phoebe. Oh, I call her my wild child. And Davy was behind her somewhere there. And I guess Katie gave me the least.
Why was Phoebe the most trouble?
She wanted to be a boy, basically. She wanted to be treated like a boy. You know, well, I can go down here and play ball with these boys and it'll be all right. She was just too independent. And, Lord, she took my car one time, and when she ended up, she was in Ohio. And she was gone a little while, and when she called me, I said, I don't care if you have to hitchhike. You better be home. But she got back all right, thank God. But it was just one thing and the other. And then her first marriage, she married this little boy that he just wouldn't do. He was mean to her and assaulted her. Oh, and I went to try and find him one day, and thank God he did not let me find that boy. Because I took a machete and a rifle. If I didn't get him with one, I'd get him with the other.
How many of your siblings are still living?
4. 2 boys and 2 girls.
Are they is your family really close?
Yeah, we've always been a close-knit family. And my oldest sister now, she doesn't drive because she's blind in one eye and she's losing the sight in her other. And I don't drive anymore. I had to have neck surgery and my head stays in one direction, and when you don't have any peripheral vision, you know, you're not safe.
Do you guys ever get together?
Yeah. Now, we hadn't that often since Mother passed away, but we always did Mother's Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. So those were our times that most everybody came.
Do you get together with your kids and your grandkids?
Oh gosh, yes. Most of the time they come on Sunday. And I always try to fix them dinner. And I get to play with the babies. And it cuts down on my smoking because I can't smoke with Raylan in the house.